Welcome to, wait for it, Japanese 101 Lesson 2. Today, the copula. What is the copula? Well, you'll find out. Lesson 1 was last week, last Wednesday. Real quick review of last week. We talked about basic sentence structure. We introduced some terminology such as object, subject, verb. We talked about particles, how they work, as an overview. Obviously, we didn't go that deep. And we introduced two particles, namely wa and o. So today, I want to talk about the copula. And maybe, if depending on how much time we have, I might introduce another particle as well, so that we're at 3 particles. So, the goal of today's lesson is that you understand what the copula is, you understand how to use it, and you understand how to recognize it. So let's work on that, and then see if we can make maybe some sentences at the end. It's the first time I've brought a notepad and a pen to the stream. Hey, there's a first time for everything, and that's a good first time. Let's go, let's get started. So, first of all, what is a copula? I'm sure there's a lot of you that know, and I'm sure there's probably also quite a few of you who are like, yeah, what actually is a copula? Actually, I think there's probably three groups. I think there's group number 1, which doesn't know what the copula is at all. There's group number 2 who kinda knows, and they're probably thinking of this and that right now, but they don't really know why this is different or like how this differs from anything else. And there's group number 3 who already knows what I'm talking about. But group number three, feel free to review it with me. The thing you learn from anime desu. So animu. So let's actually take a little bit of a deeper look at what the copula is and how it works. First, I need to get my normal colors that I use. So what is the copula? Or what is a copula? What is? I'm gonna say what is the copula. What is the copula? What is the copula? Dude, I do not like this playlist. Wait, this is horrible. Why can't we have better music? Give me 1 second. This won't fly. Maybe this? Oh, I hope this is better. Oh, I know why, because it's running at 3 times speed. Well, that's my fault then. Yeah, this is a bit better, isn't it? Okay. That's better. I still had it running at 3 times speed. That's why it sounded so weird. Amazing. I'm so sorry. That's an interesting, whatever. What is the copula? Let's just get back to the topic. What is the copula? Accidental nightcore. Yes. That feeling when you're impatient. What is the copula? And also, some of you may not know, the copula very much exists in English, okay? So if some of you maybe thought that copulas only exist in like Japanese and other languages, but not in English, you're wrong. It exists in English. It is actually more of a broad grammatical construct or a linguistical term that applies across many languages. And yeah, so we can have copulas in English. So what is the copula? I have actually gotten the Wikipedia definition here, but obviously we're gonna simplify that a bit. But to give you an idea, in Wikipedia it reads, in linguistics, a copula, plural copulas or copulae, abbreviated COP, is a word that links the subject of a sentence to a subject complement, such as the word is in the sentence, the sky is blue. The word copula derives from the Latin noun for a link or tie that connects 2 different things. There's some really good things in there. Linguistics. I thought this was stats. Nope. So there's some really good there's some really good keywords in there. Like connecting. Connecting or yeah, connecting 2 different things is a really good one. Connecting 2 different things. That's a really good one in my opinion. And the other good one is something like likening it to is specifically in the sky is blue. The sky is blue. So, we have a little bit of an idea. So we have like a very, very vague idea of what the copula is now. We know it connects to different things. And we also know that since it says in Wikipedia, not that Wikipedia is always right, but in this case, I mean, this is pretty basically correct. It links the subject of a sentence to a subject complement. We don't really need to worry about what the subject complement is in this case. It's just another word in the sentence. Junsuke, follow, arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you for the follow, welcome. So, we have this word, apparently, that is a copula. And what does it do? It connects two different things, and apparently we would call the is in the sky is blue a copula. So this is a copula, apparently. Okay, next thing we can read here is a copula is often a verb or verb-like object. A verb-like word. Another good thing to know. So the copula is often a verb, or at least something that is like a verb. So in Japanese, I would say that's very much accurate that the copula is like a verb, okay? And because it is like a verb, it comes at the end of the sentence. So copulas in Japanese go at the end of the sentence, right? So, I'll write this down as well. End of sentence in JP, in Japanese. Different things like only subjects. So generally a sentence, I should say generally a clause can only ever have one subject. A sentence can have multiple clauses and as such multiple subjects, but one clause can only ever have one subject. The other things need to be different things. Again, Wikipedia calls it a subject complement. We will just basically just refer to it as probably just the word that the subject is linked to, or likened to, or almost equivocated. So you will see later on, I like to think of the copula as sort of like a equal sign. The equal sign, wait, that's not how you sing. Sing, the equal sing. The equal sign of language. I found this to be a pretty good comparison, in my opinion, language. It's the equal sign, or even more appropriately if you do programming, like the assignment operator. Kind of like that. So, okay. Review again, I'm gonna go step by step. We have this word that describes a specific function of a word in linguistics called the copula. It connects two different things. It is the word is in the sky is blue is the copula. Why? Because it connects the words sky and blue. It assigns to the subject sky the property blue. Don't go into pointers talk, I don't understand that. We're not going to talk about pointers today. There's going to be no dereferencing of things. So to go back to what I said down here, the equal sign of language. Well, how does this apply to this sentence? This is almost like writing a simple version of sky equals blue. Right? We assign to sky this property. What ですか? 空はブルーです。でも end of sentence だとですとかがコピュラ。そうですね。はい。コピュラって日本語で何したっけ? Azuyo, hello, HS. Copula. 刑事か。刑事レンジ指定詞。まあ指定詞も、maybe 指定詞 actually. ですとだ。Copula. そうね。語学で、まあ英語っていうかこう、語学の英語の表現は Copula. Yeah. This is a pass by reference. True. Oh gosh, people starting to programming talk now. We're gonna scare off a bunch of people. Let me make the size of my eraser a bit bigger. Alright, so in this English sentence, the sky is blue. Is filling the role of a copula. And it's almost like basically assigning this property to our subject. Our subject is the sky. The sky is the subject. And then also in Japanese, it will come at the end of the sentence, just like a verb would. And also just like we've read on Wikipedia, It is a verb or verb-like word. And in Japanese, I would say we can say that I would call the Japanese copula a verb-like object. I wouldn't call it like a straight-up verb because it does stand out a little. It has different properties, but it is certainly verb-like. The way it's used and the way it works, and also the way it shows up when translating from English, is definitely verb-like. So, not that translation is a good indication for that, but still. Alright. Now, we know a little bit about the term copula and how it works, for example, in English. Now let's look at what this means in Japanese, because this is why you're all here after all, at least most of you. So, what does this all mean when trying to understand a Japanese sentence? Well, let's see. So keep this in mind. The copula is this sort of equal sign, this linker. It assigns things, it assigns properties. Nana, konnichiwa. Konnichiwa, Nana-chan. Genki. It's lesson 2 today. Are you ready? So in Japanese, the copula is commonly... We're going to talk about basically 2 versions of the copula. There is not really many versions. There's like, I would say 3. The third one, we're gonna keep out for now. You don't need to know about it now if you're just getting started. The 2 that I'm gonna talk about today will fill up about 90% of your exposure with any sort of copula. Ready. それは何より. So, we're gonna talk about the 2 copulas. Da. That's a horrible da. Da. And this. Oop. This. So we're gonna talk about these 2. In Japanese, these basically are the copulas, okay? What is the S? What is the third out of curiosity? Oh, it would be de aru. So the third one would be de aru, which is very, very, very similar to da. It's basically what da is based on, but I don't think it is like something that we need to talk about now. Degozaru, yeah. Like degozaru will go in a similar vein as that. Let's talk about da and this for today. Daniel, it's Daniel, man. Yes, it's me. It is I. So, oh, by the way, so before I erased it, you saw earlier that sometimes in English is, which is to be, right? The verb to be can be the copula. It's not always. Not always. Copula. In English. However, these always copulas. So the difference is, in English, the verb to be is used as the copula, but it's not always the copula. When is it not the copula? For example, in words when it is an auxiliary verb, such as I am running. Here, to be is used conjugated to am, first person singular, to be an auxiliary verb, to form a conjugation, to form a progressive tense. Here it is not a copula. This has nothing to do with the copula. This is just the verb to be used in a completely different way. Da and this do not do that. Okay? Da and this are always copulas. There is no way to use da and this, which isn't, I think this is the thing, copulaic, which isn't the copula. Okay? Which in a way makes this simpler. Okay? Which in a way makes Japanese copulas a little bit simpler. Because you don't have to go analyze it as much to understand whether or not it's a copula. You can just see if it's da or this, it's a copula, okay? Or de aru. Don't worry about de aru for now. Daniel, everyone is just impressed in chat. Everyone's just like, wow, you're here too. Wow. That's quite good. So we have these, okay? Now, what's the difference between da and this? Well, essentially, okay? Essentially, this is more or less, da can't be after e adjectives. Yes, so is more or less the polite version of da, okay? Exceptions apply. Polite version of da. So Johannes already pointed it out. Da, for example, can't be after e-adjectives. We'll learn about e-adjectives at some point. So keep in mind, da, or this is in fact basically the polite version of da. It is almost, the meaning of it, or its semantic meaning, like what it does, is basically the same. They are not quite the same word. There's times when you can use one, but not the other. Okay, we're gonna go into those as soon as we get to things like adjectives. That's not the topic of today. Today I want to familiarize you with the copula, really, as how are these used in Japanese, right? Like when you see these, how are you to interpret it, and how are you to interpret the copula in general? So for today, remember that da and this are very, very similar. They basically serve the same function. They're just different in some very slight ways. Not as much with meaning, but more with usage. It's just that certain times when you can use this, you couldn't use da, okay? But for the most part, right now, if you just remember, okay, this is just a formal version of the copula da, that's good enough for now, okay? And we're gonna get into all of those differences in future episodes, probably pretty soon, because I'm going to be talking about the basic, I think the next week we're gonna talk about the 4 basic verb conjugations, and then pretty soon also probably adjectives and etc, etc. And we'll see where that leads us, and we'll go look into all of these things, okay? All right, so how do we use this to form sentences? Well, let's take a sentence which would fit for this kind of pattern. Again, remember, copulas link things, copulas equate things. They say that they assign a property, or they assign one thing to be another thing. So what are these kinds of sentences that assign one thing to be another thing? Those are sentences like, I am, like I could say, I am Swiss, for example, because I am. I assign myself to be Swiss. That's a typical sentence where we use the copula. Even in English, this am is a copula. I am Swiss. I assigned the property of Swiss, or the other word is Swiss, and we just say like, okay, I is that, basically. It's like we make an equal there. We assign it that. Another one, even when you say your name, you can even say like, I am Eve. Clearly this is the same pattern. We use I, the pronoun, and we say, which is our subject in that sentence, and then we say, I am that. I am Eve. This is what I am. So I just assign it that. Other sentences, we can use adjectives as well. We're not going to talk too much about adjectives today, but just keep in mind that adjectives also work kind of pretty well with copula sentences. Because they also assign, they don't assign like another noun, but they assign properties. Adjectives basically are properties of things. So you can say, I am rich. That's also clearly a copula sentence, because it assigns the property of rich to me, to I. Okay? So let's make some Japanese sentences now that are the same pattern, where we basically just have a noun or a pronoun, like I or he or a car or whatever. And then let's just assign anything to that. Let's start with 2 nouns. Let's say, for example, the sentence that I said earlier, which was very easy. I am Eve, okay? How do you just say I am and then your name in Japanese? Well, turns out it's very simple, okay? Remember the last lesson? I hope you saw the last lesson. If not, then it will be on YouTube very, very, very soon. Hopefully tomorrow. It will be available. Wait, that's a bit too much. Da and this can stay on screen. So how do you say this? Well, I is watashi, right? So which is this kanji, by the way. I think I used it last week as well. Watashi. And now remember, last week we learned about the particle wa, which gives us the topic, which works just fine here because we want to use I as the subject and basically assign that something, right? So we want to use this subject, or also the topic in this case, so we can use wa as a topic marker here, and it works just fine. Again, if you've kind of forgotten about how to use wa or what it is, I'll make sure that the thing is on YouTube tomorrow, and also it's still here on Twitch, so if you want to watch that again, feel free. It's not that long, it's only like, I think it's like 60 to 90 minutes or something. So, watashi wa, and now my name. So there's multiple ways of spelling my name. I usually go with a very simple ibu. It's just very simple to spell it that way. That E is a little bit tall. Ibu. And now we have two choices. We can either use da or this. So let's use both, right? We can just put both. It's either ibu da, or I'm gonna use a dot to signify sort of an or, either or, like pick one, okay? Also do pick one, okay? Don't put both. That would be very wrong. We don't need multiple copulas. We need one, just like a normal clause only needs one verb. You don't need multiple copulas in one sentence. Can I say watashi fan without wa? Yes. Sounds a bit strange because if anything, you would leave out watashi completely. You would just say fan this or fan da, okay? But you could theoretically drop the wa. It just doesn't sound, in my opinion, in that case, it could be okay. Kind of depends on the situation, on how like formal you should be. I feel like if someone were to drop the wa in there, they will just drop the whole thing. They will just not say watashi wa at all, and then just say fan desu, fan da, which you hear quite often. So while yes, you could theoretically drop the wa, and particles are dropped all the time for like in informal contexts, I feel like in that case, if you're already dropping the particle, it's almost likely that people wouldn't mention the subject at all or the topic. But it depends. So yeah, while it's not wrong. So yes, you can. Watashi fan da. You can say that. It's people do it. So fan or ibu da or ibu desu. All right, ibu da, ibu desu. That's it. Okay. The magic happened just now. What did we do? We used this as our subject and topic. So here, wa is topic. Topic and subject. Also subject, right? Subject. So this is topic and subject, okay? Watashi wa ibu da or watashi wa ibu desu. We're gonna talk about politeness in a pretty soon upcoming episode, okay? So if until now you've been wondering, Eve, what is that politeness you've been talking about? Like what exactly do you mean with that? If you don't know that yet, don't worry, okay? For now, just take it at face value. Just basically take it the way I say it as one is just more polite than the other. How exactly you are to use that and how exactly that applies, or like when you should be polite and when you shouldn't, we're gonna talk about it in detail. Probably the episode after next episode, we're gonna talk about it. But for now, just remember, da is not polite. It's a standard sentence, and this is more polite. Okay, so basically, to be very, very simple, if you're introducing yourself with this sentence, you should go with this. Okay, make this your default. When you use it, just make this one your default. For now, it's better to be polite. Obviously, right? In English, you would also not maybe like, I don't know how you introduce yourself in English, but you wouldn't start off like super casual, right? It's better to be polite, so for now, make this your default. If you're not sure, use this, okay? It's probably better. Just know that da also exists. So this is the simple structure, the basic structure. To sort of make that more general, we can basically now formulate any sentence x, wa, y, this or da, okay? So we can now form any sentence, and yes, this is a completed sentence, by the way. We can now form any kind of sentence of this structure. X wa y desu, which is x is y, which is kind of like saying x is y, right? It's kind of like that. It's kind of like saying x is y, or has the property of being y, or has the property of y, okay? So x wa y desu. That's basically as simple as it gets, right? Often, yeah, so for the most part, you will have this kind of structure, this kind of like basic structure. Note that obviously, since we talked about this in the last episode, obviously since this is the topic marker, right? X needs to be a noun or a pronoun. A noun or a noun replacement. A noun replacement would be a pronoun, right? So X needs to be a noun, and Y is usually a noun or adjective. Okay? Not a verb. You will never see noun wa verb this. That does not work, okay? Why? Because you don't usually assign actions to be things. In English, you wouldn't say I am run or something. You can say I'm running, but then it's not a copula, like we said earlier. You can't say I am swim. You don't say that like that, right? That doesn't work. You don't assign things to be like actions. Sonic, I am speed. Speed is a noun though, so that works. Speed is a noun. I am swim, destroyer of whirlpools. Yes, exactly. So again, these simple rules are very, very powerful when trying to come up with very simple but correct sentences, which you should be happy enough with for now. When you're first starting out, don't focus too much on trying to make sentences, because you just don't know enough yet to really make lots of sentences. So just try and get more input, get more information to then make better sentences. But if you want to, or if you need to make sentences, it's good to have these basic rules to cling to. Even though it makes you very limited in what you can do, at least you know it's kind of correct or it will be understood. Such as when we have something wa, like iksu wa, we know that it kind of has to be a noun or a pronoun. Like if we put a verb there and we know it's a verb, then we know it's wrong. Hey, Sefu. Sefu, koncha. If we put a verb there, we kind of already know it's wrong. And it's a very simple rule. And it's not that hard knowing what type of word a word is that you learn. Sefu. 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 So like when you look up a word, right? Such as, let's say, boat. Like hune, right? Which means boat. Most dictionaries, if they're good dictionaries, should tell you right away that it's a noun. And this is information that you should look at. So if you're using a dictionary and it tells you this is a noun, this is good information. You should listen to that. You should look at that and you should be like, it's a noun. Because this is important. The part of speech that a word belongs to is very important and extremely helpful. If I look up, for example, we had this a while ago. If we look up throw, okay? Remember it last week? We looked up throw, okay? And then we got mixed results because people were using my chat to look up the word throw. And we got mixed results because some people ended up getting toteki. But toteki is a noun or pseudoverb. We're going to talk about pseudoverbs. For now, think of this as a noun. Toteki is a noun, okay? Compare this to nageru. Nageru, which is a verb, ichidan verb. So these are very different things, okay? You could not just take toteki and put it in the place where nageru could be, because these are completely different word types. These are completely different parts of speech. Now, of course, toteki being a pseudoverb, you can add pseudo and it turns into a verb. We're gonna talk about that later though. 初めて聞いた言葉です。そうね、僕もそうですけど、最終じゃなくて、先週、もう、こういう配信をして、僕のボットを使って、throw を探索して、なんという投擲が最初に出てくる。まあ、to throw を探索したら、普通に、投げるが、表示するんですけど、まあね。まあ、なんだからね、こういうことになりました。Yeah, so my bot was giving this result, and that's obviously not as useful in that case. If we want a verb, a simple verb, we're gonna have to go with nageru. And the same goes for any sort of adjective. If we look up green, for example, you will see here green, midori, noted as a noun or no adjective, noun, and Actually, green is a bad example. Blue would be a better example. Nugeru. Yes, I'm sure you do. Wait, you're a cat. You're always naked. So here, ao is a good example. Ao means blue. Here you have noun, and here you have e-adjective. So these are clearly, again, two different words. So my point is, listen to your dictionary, look at the part of speech it is, and use that information to your advantage. If you know that the topic needs to be some sort of noun or pronoun, you can use that, right? You can use that to verify your sentences. It's a very easy system. The same for the copula. Wherever you have a sentence like x wa y desu, you know that this kind of needs to be a noun or a pronoun, and you know that this kind of needs to be a noun or adjective or something like that, right? A na-adjective or e-adjective in this case. And we're gonna talk about na-adjectives and e-adjectives pretty soon, okay? So, all right, that's the basics. So let's make a lot more examples to sort of get used to this, okay? And I'm gonna also show you, like, when you can identify the verb in a sentence, you kind of know if you need to use the copula or not, okay? So let's make some more examples. How would you write the sentence? How would you write the sentence that I said before? How would you say, Eve is Swiss? How would you say that? Ibu, I just showed you, right? Ibu is, you just like this, Ibu. And then Swiss, you can say it like this. Swissujin, okay? Swissujin, where this is, that's a J. Wait, I made a J instead of a G. Swissujin, like this, okay? Swissujin. So how would you say that? What's the order? How do you go about that? Tell me, my friends. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say this last time, but if you are watching this on YouTube, feel free to write your sentences in the comments and I will look at them and I will give you corrections or praise you if it's correct. Ibu wa Swissujin desu. This is currently being recorded, yes. I've already said that episode 1, I wanted to have it live on YouTube by now. I couldn't manage to do that because I was working on something that I will show you after this lesson, which I'm very excited about. But I will see that it's there tomorrow, possibly in the morning. Yes, and then this episode 2 should be there a bit sooner, hopefully. We'll see. Yeah, I'm hoping to at least have the previous episode on YouTube before the next one is on Twitch, basically. There you go. Ibu wa Swissujin desu. Yes, you're all getting it. Very good. Very good. Ibu wa Swissujin desu. Easy, right? You use the same pattern. In our case, this was like X and this is like Y. So we just put it in here. We add wa and we add this at the end. And that's all we need to do, right? Wa desu. Ibu wa Swissujin desu. So let's write the whole sentence in hopefully what will be somewhat decent handwriting. Ibu wa Swissujin desu. そうですね。Ibu wa いかにもスイス人でござる。So, Ibu, oops. Ibu wa Swiss人desu. Easy. Took me ages on mobile keyboard, but I'm getting the hang of it. Very good. There you go. So, oh, by the way, if you think this like little this little circle here is kind of cute, I don't know if you've been like very exposed, or I don't know if you've been exposed at all to Japanese writing and like online, but the funny thing is that in most fonts, the full stop or the period in Japanese will turn into this cute little circle instead of just a dot. So I tend to make like the full circle. Even in handwriting, most people will do this rather than this. I don't know why, it's just a thing. I guess it fits better. It's basically the same thing you would add to something like a handakten, right? Something like a handakten where you would get like pa, right? It's basically that thing, just put it at the bottom. In case you were wondering why I'm doing all these cute periods, or maybe you already knew. This is pretty basic information, but yeah. Okay, my connection is so bad, I gotta go. Thanks even everyone. I'm so sorry, fan. I wish Twitch would give me quality options, but alas, they just have been refusing to do so for the last week. Yes, I hope that I hope that I can get the YouTube video ready for you. There are like 3 enter like buttons. I don't know what to say. Ha wa is part of the next word. So basically just tap wa in the suggestion bar above option to work. Damn, okay, you need to practice a little with that. Alright, so this is the basic thing. Let's do another one. Also, this one I'm not gonna give you the vocab, so you have to figure it out for yourself, but I'm gonna use 2 nouns again, okay? I'm gonna use 2 nouns. How would you say, papi pupepo, how would you say, I need to say something. How would you say, okay, I'm gonna give you one word so that you know not to use the wrong one. So in this case, we're gonna use the word otonari-san, which means neighbor, okay? So how would you say, my neighbor is... How would we say that? What could my neighbor be? I'm so bad at coming up with sentences too. My neighbor is a cat lover. That's a word, a cat lover. How do you say that? How would you say my neighbor is a cat lover? My neighbor would be use otonari-san. Otonari-san. This is a good one to use. Otonari-san, okay? My neighbor, or the neighbor, the person next door. Yeah, I'll play around in Google Keep Notes. I knew that one. One of the few words I learned before giving up on Pokemon. Yes, otonari. Otonari-san wa neko ga suki desu. That is correct. But it's... I mean, it's right. It's just that... That's a very good sentence. It's just a bit more advanced than what I was looking for. I was wondering if people would find it, because there's a word for people that like cats. Is that a real word? Ai neko ka. I don't think that's a real word. Maybe it is. Looks almost a bit like Chinese. There is a word, if you look, nekozuki. Nekozuki. Nekozuki desu. そうですね。Junさんは。Yeah, I really wonder. It is one. Aibyoka. Nice. Aibyoka. 聞いたことない. There is a word. So here, you can see it in chat. Someone looked it up. Aibyoka. I have never seen that word before, but it's good to know. There is a term called nekozuki, which means a cat lover. Ailurophile, which I also haven't heard before. Ailurophile, apparently. So a cat lover is nekozuki. Just like a little extra word that you can use for yourself. Maybe there's also one for... I think there must be one for inu as well, like inuzuki, maybe? I don't hear that one as much, to be honest, so maybe there isn't. Yeah, so for dogs, apparently there isn't one. There is one for cats, though. Nekojin desu. He's a cat person. This new addition to your Japanese vocab. Nekozuki. Kanji is nekozuki. Yes, that's it. So, let's see. Otonari-san, right? Can I... I need to make sure that I even... would that work? Nekojin? Nekojin works. That's the word they use in... what's the game? Ni no Kuni. In Ni no Kuni, they call the cat people Nekojin. Nekojin. So, let's write it down. Otonari-san. Otonari-san. Otonari. Tonari, like... this. I think I'm doing the stroke order wrong, but don't mind me. I think the stroke order should have been the other way around there. But yeah. Oh wait. Otonari. That's why I need to review my stroke orders, I swear. Otonari-san wa nekozuki, which is like this. Neko zuki. Nekozuki. Let's put some furigana too. Tonari. I wish I had handwriting like Zern. This is so nice. It's life goals. Also note that it's zuki instead of suki, just because this is what we would call rendaku. It's just a thing that happens in Japanese. Has to do with pronunciation rules. Nya. I'm ready for Ni no Kuni. Yes. Well, no Ni no Kuni this week, sadly, because there's gonna be the great Animal Crossing stream. It's cute until Shizuku comes out. So Ni no Kuni, that was so cute. Ah, you saw it? Okay. I'm also playing Ni no Kuni every Friday, except for this Friday. Alright, Otonari-san wa nekozuki. Oh, I forgot the copula. The most important part, and I forgot it. This, of course, that's what we're talking about today, after all, is the copula. Nekozuki desu. So, but you can see how you can apply this super simple pattern to quite a variety of things, as long as this is a noun, which it is, and this is a noun, which it is. Turns out it is. Fantastic. Noun wa noun this, which just means that, like, otonari-san could be any, like, person like this. Oops, I can't even draw people anymore. So let's say this is our otonari-san, okay? His name is, like, Tanaka-san. Nekozuki. I'm gonna draw a cat. And he's all like, oh, I love cats. Nekozuki. It's the same principle, right? We're just assigning him to be something. Otonari-san wa nekozuki. He just likes cats. That's just what he does, or whatever. So that's how it works. And as a review, as long as this is noun wa noun this, you can also, when it's noun, okay, when this here is a noun, you can always replace it with da. In that case, it always works, okay? For the most part, I'm pretty sure this should always work. I can't think of any exceptions right now. So this should always work. If this here is a noun, then you can add da instead, and it just becomes like a normal sentence instead of a polite sentence. But like we discussed, it's probably best for you to stick with this for now while you're still getting the hang of it, okay? So that's basically it already, okay? That's basically the copula, okay? So let's review. We're actually pretty well on target. I was aiming for this to be about an hour. So let's review real quick. Cute face hugger, thank you. We talked about the copula. And again, Wikipedia calls the copula a word that links a subject of a sentence to a subject complement, such as the word is in the sentence, the sky is blue. The word copula derives from the Latin noun for link or tie that connects two different things. Right, again, the equal sign. It connects two different things. Otonari-san wa nekozuki da. So he's a cat lover. It connects these two concepts. Ibu wa suisujin desu. Eve, Swiss, together. like pans and pineapples, you know? And it mostly, in Japanese, you can use the topic marker to mark that subject. And you can basically say whatever, wa, da, or this, okay? And then sometimes whatever is in this slot here can also be an adjective, because it also works for properties, not just nouns, but also properties. We're gonna go back to that once we talk about adjectives. It's gonna be a big topic once we're getting into like other things like adjectives specifically. It's gonna be a big thing. All right, practice this on your own. Use it as a chance to get some vocab. Think of an English sentence that's very simple, such as one thing is another thing, and then both are nouns, and try and say that in Japanese. And go into your dictionary and go look for nouns, okay? Make sure that they're nouns. If you're looking for something, again, this example that I keep using again and again, throw. Don't use this if you want a throw, as in he made a throw, because it says verb, okay? Look for nouns, try it out. You can write it on my Discord if you want. I have a Discord, you can join it. Haha, we have a Discord, Game Grammar does. And you can write it in the YouTube comments if you're watching this on YouTube, and I will take a look at your sentences and give you hints. Look at all the nouns. Look at all these nouns. Using the book, not really natural and talking with people. Yes, so again, if you're looking for whether to use da or this, while for our purposes right now, both are correct, you should stick to this for now, and then we will talk in detail at some point about what is politeness. How do you differentiate which one is better to use in which moment? But yeah, so Junsuke makes an interesting point that da can be more of a written literary kind of thing, and this can be a spoken thing when talking to people you're not super familiar with. For now, let's stick to this, but remember, da basically fills the same role as this, with some exceptions applying, okay? So when people say things like kawaii desu, does that make sense even without the thing it is linked to? Yes, it makes sense. So, this an hour ago. No, I'm doing it now. So, yes, it makes sense because kawaii is a property, so you can link that, and many things are implied. So we might dive into that at some point, maybe in some lesson. But like implying things is like a whole different topic almost. But often in Japanese, the rule of thumb is if it is clear from context, it doesn't need to be mentioned. Okay, that's the rule. If it's clear from context, it does not need to be mentioned. All right, that doesn't mean it's not really there. It is kind of there. It's just not said out loud. So in the sentence kawaii desu, that sentence only makes sense if we know what you're talking about, right? Even in English, if I say that's cute, this sentence that's cute only makes sense if you know what I mean with that. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, the sentence has no clear meaning for you, okay? Even in English. In Japanese, it's the same. When something is implied, it needs to be clear from context. And that just happens all the time. Anyways, that's a different topic, and we probably will talk about it. Instead of maybe making it a lesson, I might just sprinkle it in on top and be like, okay, this could be implied, and how does implying work? But this is basically my target that I was aiming for, more or less. Now, if you still have questions, keep them coming, and we'll answer some questions for the remaining few minutes. And then after that, we'll basically switch modus operandi, and we'll be doing just a little just chatting, hanging out stream, maybe playing games, I don't know yet. But for now, if there's anything else, then now's the time. And also, I should mention once again, this is now a thing, okay? Grammar review is on hiatus, basically. Not really, this is basically grammar review. But Japanese 101 is the new thing every Wednesday. So if you're interested in that, check out the first episode and then come back next week for the second one. And yeah, also, before we end the episode right here, I have adding ka after this could result in a very simple question, right? Yes, that's correct. You can add ka to make very simple questions. I need to talk about ka soon. Good thing, mental note. I'll make a mental note so that we can do something about ka very soon. All right. Let's see. So we're about 1 hour, that's like 50 minutes. I think that's kind of good. All right, so today we learned about the copula. We learned what is a copula. We learned what is the Japanese copula. We learned what is the copula in English, which I think is important because a lot of people don't realize that English has copulas. They just show up in a little bit of a different shape, but they're still copulas. And we learned about that and about this, and we made some sentences. So that's pretty good. So make your sentences, send them over every Wednesday, 10 PST now. Well, it's always the same time. It's always 6 p.m. It's always 6 p.m. CET. So you're gonna have to convert that. It's Central European time. I don't know what time that is in PST. What time is it where you live right now? It must be 11. So I guess, yeah. Someone who has always been awful at language is very helpful if English clarified as well. Yes, that's also what I'm going for. I want to use this series to clarify a lot of terms that get thrown around. Such as last time when we talked about what is a subject, what is an object, what is a verb. Watashi wa ringo desu. That's a correct sentence. So that's an interesting thing to talk about. Correctness versus whether the sentence makes sense. Because those are two different things. A sentence can be grammatically correct but make no sense. Or be impossible, right? That's also interesting. Handy timer that shows a running time in the stream description. Yeah, that's true. Alright guys, I'm gonna end the recording for episode 2 right here. The stream will go on, okay? If you're watching this on YouTube, twitch.tv/gamegrammar, and then you can see it live. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. The topic next time is most likely going to be basic verb tenses and verbs. It's going to be an intro into verbs and an intro into the 4 basic verb tenses that you need to know. Until then, take care, and I'll see you there, okay? I'll make sure that things are live on the YouTubes tomorrow.